Welcome back to your Palm Beach Guide with the Palm Beach Chamber of Commerce. I'm your host, Kiana Rivera. Here we spotlight the leaders shaping the landscape of Palm Beach, from business and innovation to design and culture. Today, we're joined by a true visionary in the world of architecture, Kevin Asbacher, founding principal of Asbacher Architecture. With more than 25 years of experience designing both modern and traditional residential estates, Kevin's work has become synonymous with timeless elegance and a deep respect for Palm Beach's architectural heritage. From restoring landmark properties by iconic architects like Maurice Fascio and John Volk to creating new oceanfront estates that blend history with modern luxury, Kevin's approach bridges the past and present in truly remarkable ways. Kevin, welcome to the podcast. Hello, Kevin. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for being on our podcast today. We're so thankful to have you.
Thank you for having me.
You got it. So I want to jump right in. Can you tell me a little bit about how you got to Palm Beach?
Boy, that's a long story.
Yeah.
I'll try and abbreviate it. So I grew up in Maryland, just a little bit north of DC. I went to the college at the University of Maryland. I got a master's in architecture there.
Was your family in architecture, or did you just have a drive to it when you were growing up?
My mother told me that she always wanted to be an architect, but my mother's in her 90s now.
Amazing.
So when she was of that age, women didn't really go into architecture. So she ended up not doing it. And I have an older brother. I'm one of 10 children. So
10?
10.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
wow.
I'm 9 of 10.
Are you in the 9 of 10? You're the last set.
Towards the tail end.
Yeah.
Yep. And one of my older brothers is an architect as well.
Wow.
So it was something I was exposed to a lot when I was a kid.
So you were in DC, went to school for architecture, and then did you stay in DC for a long time?
I only lived there for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Past that, my impetus for moving to Florida was I've been married currently for 18 years. My first wife, which was a short-lived situation, was my reason for moving to Florida in the first place.
That's incredible. And so did you start in West Palm Beach area, or did you go to different parts of Florida?
I didn't. My initial move was to Cocoa Beach.
Oh, Cocoa's amazing.
I lived there, which is fun. It's a little town.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So small.
And we lived in an apartment right across the street from the beach. It was fantastic. And I worked for a small firm there that I've done what I do now is not what I've always done. So we did apartment towers. We did a lot of work for Disney itself, some of their attractions, which was kind of interesting.
So building attractions? Can you share some stories about that? Or
yeah, so we worked on a couple of the different restaurants.
Yeah.
There's a Polynesian themed restaurant we worked on.
No way.
And then I think it's in downtown Disney. There's a store that is sort of themed after a stadium. It's a sports themed store.
Oh, cool.
We worked on that with them as well.
So when you go into meetings like that, or when you get contracts from Disney, do they already have the idea behind what the building will look like? And then they kind of like tell you and you're like, okay, now this is how it actually becomes real life? Or do you go in as like a partner and say, okay, this is how we can work together and put your creative minds together?
The idea of working with Disney sounds much more cool than it is.
Right. Yeah, I'm
not
sure.
Not knocking them, but they are control freaks.
Right.
They have their whole team of architects and head designers. So you're a facilitator. They
really
bring it to you.
Okay.
And then you basically make it happen.
They
are in control of every single detail.
There's probably they have to be to the T because you're Disney. So you describe yourself as a modern classicist. Can you unpack what that means to you and how it influences your design philosophy?
So primarily what we do in the office, so we design really large scale custom homes, anywhere from 5,000 to the typical house is anywhere from 5,000 to say 15,000. We've done houses up to 50,000. I've always gravitated towards more traditionally based architecture. I'm not a big fan of contemporary architecture for a number of reasons.
It doesn't look as pretty, honestly. Like, I know that sounds so basic to say, but when you look at just the traditional homes, they have so much character. And we went through that period where everything looked the same. And I feel like we're kind of getting back on the trend of traditional architecture. Would you see that? But do you see that now, at least with your clients you're working with? Or is it a mix of both? I mean, we live in such a unique place. So
I think it depends on where the people are coming from.
Yeah.
We're getting some movement up from Miami. So that's coming from there.
Yeah.
New York, there's sort of a push towards contemporary, but it just feels a little soulless and a little lacking in detail to me. So it's just never something we've really moved towards. But that said, To me, a contemporary classicist, you're still working within the realm of traditional architecture, but there are things that do adapt and change. People want a little bit, maybe they want a little more ceiling height than you would have had in a traditional. So you
Right.
have to try and work out all those proportions and details in a way that works towards the way people want to live. We often get requests for, so we do work often in places like Lost Street Village. So it's a very sort of conservative,
Yeah.
low key place. So on the street, they want to look like they belong, but on the back of their house,
Right.
they want lots of glass, and which isn't necessarily traditional, but you
Right.
have to sort of knit it all together and make it work.
And how do you communicate with your client who doesn't have any experience in this type of field, but they have an idea or a concept that they're going after, and you kind of have to bring them back to earth a little bit to say, okay, this is what can actually be done, or are you just like, okay, we're going to make this work because we want to work with the client?
So my favorite kind of clients
Yeah.
are the experienced ones,
Good,
because they've
good.
sort of gone down that road and they know what to expect.
Right.
The newer clients who have the means but don't have not necessarily gone through the process, it's not difficult. It's just more challenging because you need to sort of handhold a little bit more
Right.
and walk them through that in terms of what's possible. And oftentimes people that are sort of new to that situation also don't understand what they can and can't afford,
Right. That's funny.
which is a big
You got to be like, we have
yep.
to have a hard conversation right
Yes,
now.
that happens all the time.
Man, oh man. Well, so many of your projects beautifully merge historic preservation with modern living. So, how do you balance between honoring the past and embracing innovation?
I think to me, a lot of that is in things like proportion and detail. There's a lot, again, I'm not knocking anybody, but there's a lot of architecture out there that it sort of is a mimic
Right.
of what really should be, in terms of referencing history, that it's
Yeah.
sort of watered down so much that it sort of loses it. So I think you have to be true to the details. And, for me, the big challenge in, traditional architecture, like I said, say a traditional cottage style house would have 8-foot ceilings and the whole proportion of the building would be smaller. So the challenge is how do you make it bigger the way people want it today? Make it
Yeah.
a little taller, but still make it feel like it's correctly done.
Oh, I love that. And then walk us through the design process. So, when you first see a concept to that final completion.
Okay. So we're we're a very full service firm. So
Yeah.
I'm working with a client for 2.5 years.
Oh, wow. That's a long time.
Yeah, from beginning to end. So we're with them from the day they meet me to interview me all the way through, generally until they're moving in the house, furniture's coming
Do
in.
you ever like interview the client? Like, let's say they meet with you and, you said that they interview you, but at the same time, for your craft and your art that you have, do you interview a client as well? And you're kind of like, maybe,
It took me, so I opened the office 15 years ago.
wow, long time.
So it took me a number of years to get to the point. So my office is intentionally small. I only have 3 employees besides me. I've been twice that big. I started to become a manager and not an architect.
Right.
So I decided I wanted to dial that back because I love being an architect. So
That's so amazing. Just to interrupt you, the fact that you know yourself and you know your lane and you're like, you wanted to grow and to scale it differently, but then you're like, I'm really good at this one thing and I love this. So kudos to you for doing that.
well, thanks. I mean, if you're gonna do it every day,
Right.
I had the choice to really love every day or to make more money.
Right.
And at the end of the day, to me, it wasn't worth it. So I think I'm in a spot where I'm very happy with where I am. We only take a given number of projects a year. So to answer your initial question, in the last few years, I have started letting people know in interviews that I'm looking at them as much as they're looking at me.
Yeah, good. I'm so glad. And two, I think it's important because, like you said, you've been in business for so long. You only commit to a certain amount of projects a year, and that means you give 100% to your clients in that given year. So I love that you're doing that, and and it puts kind of the people on blast a little bit to be like, hey. So that's so good. That's so good. When it comes to Palm Beach and the architectural icons that we have here, how have their legacies shaped your own work?
Quite a lot. I've always been a big admirer of John Volk. I love his work. It's classically based. It's restrained. That's what I've always thought. Like true Palm Beach is that it's well done but very tasteful.
Right.
And then you sort of spin off into Meisner, who's obviously very popular, but he's very talented and very creative, which is fun.
I love that. So Palm Beach has had such a distinctive architectural DNA. What trends or evolutions are you seeing in residential design here today? whether good or bad.
I mean, no surprise from my earlier comments that I don't love the push towards the contemporary homes in Palm Beach. I don't, when you
It
see
kind of
them in
looks
the
like an
middle,
eyesore a little bit.
you see them in the middle of a block somewhere and they just don't
Right.
look like they belong there.
Right. What are some other trends that we might not think of, like for inside of the home that people are like, I mean, all over Instagram, I just see people are using tons of wallpaper. I just use myself as an example because like I moved into an apartment recently and it's so bland and I don't want to paint because painting is so intense. But then I'm like, oh, maybe I'll just use some wallpaper. And then I'm like, but what kind of wallpaper? It's overwhelming to me. The whole process is so
It's
overwhelming
more
to
of a
me.
commitment.
Yeah, that's why I'm just like, I have a roll of wallpaper just laying in my guest room. It hasn't made it to the wall yet.
Yeah, because it's more of a commitment, right? Once you put it
Yeah,
up, you may have to take it down if you don't like
right.
it. All those painting is much easier,
Yes.
so you might start there to ease yourself in. You know, there's always sort of odd trends like throughout the last year and a half. We're getting like everybody wants a cold plunge.
Really,
Everybody wants a red light sauna, like everyone.
Those are in the conversations when
all the time.
Oh my goodness, I would have never thought that. I wonder though, when they do put those in there, how many of them actually use it, or is it just a trend?
I know,
right?
And how long are they here, right? Well,
Exactly.
I mean, people are here more and more these days. So.
Right. I love it.
Interesting enough, I think people are starting. There's a drift away from the open plan. It went for years.
Okay.
People are starting to want to be able to close off the kitchen.
Yeah.
And I'm even getting people asking for dining rooms again. So
I love it.
There's a drift back towards that traditional situation.
There is. So I've always appreciated, and I think this is just how I was brought up, but just you sit to eat dinner together, you cook and you host and you know, if it's a beautiful tablescape, amazing. If not, that's okay too. But I think we're really shifting back towards that mindset, which I'm not upset about. I love it.
No, I think it's great. My clientele has a tendency to be a little older, right?
Yeah.
Because they're retired Wall Street folks, executives, that kind of stuff. And they're not building these houses for two people. They have kids and they have grandkids and they desperately want them to come back. So the idea of having a dining table and having your kids sit down with you to eat, they love the idea. That's what they're hoping for.
Oh, that's so good. Are there any recent projects you're particularly proud of that highlight the island's architectural heritage?
Yeah, I think for me, interestingly enough, like I love doing a brand new house.
Brand new house, like starting from
scratch.
From scratch.
So
okay.
There's lots of those. But at the same time, you know, we've done several historic preservations in Palm Beach. What I love that as well, because you're sort of dig into a really old house.
What's that process like when you have a historic building and you have to work with the town to, I know there's a lot of, you know, not struggle, but just there's a lot of boundaries when it comes to that.
There is, but I think a lot of it comes down to, you know, a skill level and an understanding of the detail that's in those. And also there's a lot of research involved. You really need to dig into what the house is, what it was intended to be, and then have a rationale for where you're taking it. You know, the town boards are a simple process.
Exactly. I agree. But hey, I mean, you get there and then hopefully once you're able to communicate your idea clearly, then you have that green light to then create, you know, this whole process and a finished project that you're proud of. So when it comes to preservation and sustainability, how often are you focusing on the coastal sort of environment here that we have? Does that ever come into effect?
In what sense?
So like, how do you approach designing homes that are both enduring and environmentally mindful?
I think all of our projects could be considered environmentally mindful because we try and think of them from the outside in. This is a harsh environment, humidity, heat, salt, like all of it. So I always encourage my clients to never, if you're going to sort of trim the budget, don't do it on the outside. Go from the outside in to make it so it will last for generations.
Okay. Now, to get on sort of a personal touch here, you've designed everything from intimate retreats to grand oceanfront estates. What does home mean to you?
My family.
Yeah.
My kids. I have 3 kids. A 3-year-old granddaughter.
My goodness, you're a granddad. Yep. Do they live here?
They're all local, which is fantastic.
Oh, that's amazing.
I'm happiest when all my kids are home.
Talk about the dining room table, though. You're the host, right?
We have a huge dining room table. It seats 10.
Oh, gosh.
So
that's
amazing.
For
the moment, it holds us all.
That's good, though. Well, you'll be growing here with only one grandbaby. So for the next generation of architects or designers inspired by Palm Beach's legacy, what advice would you give them just about blending history, innovation, industry, and artistry, not industry, but artistry into their work?
Boy, probably not popular advice, but I would encourage up and coming architects to draw more and use computers less.
I like it. And why? Why do you think that is?
Computers they're a little rigid and a little cold. And when I went through architecture school, we didn't have them.
Yeah.
They were there in a computer lab. Nobody used them.
Right.
And we did everything by hand. We sketched by hand. We drew by hand. It's a much smoother thinking thought process as you're trying to think something through to just sort of we had an expression in architecture school. They would say that people are they're paralyzed by a blank page. So they don't want to start drawing because they're afraid, right?
Right.
And the best thing you can do is just put some lines on the paper and just get going.
Oh,
Because that gets your
that's
gets your
beautiful.
mind going. So computers have a tendency. I think one, they're just too rigid and it's hard to think in a flowing manner. And they have a tendency to make you lazy, I think, where you can just repeat things easily.
Wow.
So
just
I don't, unfortunately, in architecture schools these days, I don't think they draw at all.
My goodness.
I think everything is on it.
So when you are working in your studio, what does it look like? Do you have?
I have a drafting table.
Wow.
That I still use on every project. I start all projects on the board with pencil and paper.
Wow. This is a weird question, but do you have a favorite pencil brand you use? Or does it matter?
So I do. They have these, still use the old fashioned, they're called Konor is the company. It's a German company that makes these drafting pencils. I still use where you actually insert the lead.
Oh, wow.
And you use a pointer instead of a pencil sharpener. It's not a wooden pencil.
Yeah.
Those were very common in drafting way back when.
I say you bring it back. You start this trend.
I would love to.
I love that you said that. And that was such a surprising answer. I really wasn't expecting that when it comes to what you would give to the younger generation. But when you're talking about the artistic side of architecture, it really does start with art and just that beautiful craft that you have. So I love that you said that.
Yeah. And I think eventually it's going to go deeper than that. Right now, AI is not there, but it's going to be.
Right.
And then I don't know about what I do because we're just so involved in the entire process with our clients, but it's going to replace some architects someday.
Wow. So there you go. Everyone listening, this is important information. So before we wrap up, I have some rapid fire questions. These are just very fun and quick. So the first thing that comes to your mind, are you a morning person or a night owl?
Night.
Really? Oh my gosh. How late do you stay up?
I'm a morning person. I don't like to stay I'm glad this was at 10 because I get up at 5:30. So for the first hour and a half.
Yeah, you're just like, I'm just waking up. Leave me alone. Dream architectural era to live in.
Ooh, Renaissance.
And why? To work in or to live in? Maybe that's a better one. Like, would you?
I don't know exactly what it'd be like to live in.
Yeah, we're living it, right?
There was just a lot of, from everything that was going on in church building and all those sorts of things back then. Just the level of detail and the correctness of it was it's just amazing.
What is your favorite Palm Beach landmark?
With the Breakers Hotel.
Gorgeous, right? Just
not something they do anymore.
It's a lost art. Most inspiring architect, past or present?
I'm going to stick with John Volk.
Yeah. Okay. I love it. You're consistent. That's good. And coffee order of choice, or do you not drink coffee?
Mostly black.
Really?
Yeah.
Hot or cold?
And occasionally a latte. Hot. Always hot.
Always hot. Always hot. Always black. Occasionally a latte. I like it. One word that describes Palm Beach's style.
Conservative.
Conservative. That's a good word. Okay. And last question, what's one book that changed your life?
I would say it's actually I'm a bit of a history weirdo.
Yeah.
And especially American history. So I've read George Washington's biography, Benjamin Franklin, and the one that really, really got me because he was also on some level, he was an architect as well, was I read they have a 5-volume history of Thomas Jefferson. That was
5 volumes.
1,800 pages or something. It took me forever to read it, but
you did
it's very impactful because you really get to know, it's not just talking points that you hear.
Right.
Is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? It was really in depth. It was great for me. Loved it.
Oh, that's amazing. So I have one book I think you should add to your list.
Okay.
It's called Pillars of the Earth.
Okay.
And it is phenomenal. It's huge. It's like a 500, 600 page book. It's fiction, but it has a lot to do with building historical churches, and it's set back in the day, and it's so good. Great. I think I've read it like 3 times. Well, Kevin, thank you for joining us today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I had fun.